I showed up at her house and I got to meet her little girl and her husband. And I really only just had an idea, and I had the song title, and it was Sometimes I Drink. And I wanted the song itself to be a song about, it being okay for women to give themselves permission to go out and have fun. Because I find sometimes, when women get together, it's to attend some kind of party where it's, they're selling things, like they might be selling candles or some kind of goofy product, and then there's always wine, and I think the whole reason women do that is because they legitimately want to get together, but we rarely just give ourselves permission to, let's meet up at a bar and let's have some drinks. And I wanted it to be that kind of a vibe, and that kind of an upbeat, fun message. And so we got to talking it out, and we literally talked for about 3 hours. And at the end of that 3 hours, we had this song. Sometimes I drink, get a buzzing in my brain. I don't want to complain, but I'm going insane. Sometimes I like a glass of wine on Friday night at the Lonesome High. I'm really excited to talk to you. I think before I welcome you formally, I just want to, you can hear me good, right? I can hear you perfect, yeah. Okay, good. But I just want to tell you a little bit of story, something of a serendipity that happened. So initially, when I got contacted to talk to you, you were there, and we're trying to schedule all of this stuff to happen. And you were in my inbox, and we're just trying to figure out scheduling. So I think a few weeks later, I was driving to Toronto, and I very rarely, go out on a Saturday, but I was in my car and I was listening to this show on CBC called Unreserved, presented by Rosanna Deerchild, and and she was talking to Senator Murray Sinclair, and they got to a part where she asked him what he was listening to these days, and he mentioned you, and and it was just that one moment where I hear about that, and I'm like, oh God, I have to talk to this lady. And then they go on to play a song called Break the Chain, and it was such a beautiful song. And that was, that very day I got back home, and I'm like, we have to schedule this, we have to make this work. And that's what essentially has gotten me here, because I felt it was meant to be. It just had to be. So I wanted to let you know that story, and I became a fan right there and then. Just with that one music I listened to, it was very beautifully done. And I know we're here to talk about Sometimes I Drink, but I wanted to get that out of the way. Okay. Appreciate you doing that. That was the title track to my last album that I released 2 months before the pandemic shut the world down. And I feel like that song would have gotten a bit more traction had it not been for the pandemic. So I appreciate you starting with that story. Amazing. It's a really, really good song. Okay, let me welcome you formally, Desiree Dorion. I want to welcome you formally to Pop-Up Conversations. We're here in Toronto. We talk to artists across the country about their musical projects, work they have in the moment, and future plans. We couldn't be more excited to have you here on the show. So welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. Awesome. I think what I find really fascinating now, I know at the time the song was released, which was back in June, we're talking about Sometimes I Drink here. It reached number 12 in the country, and 96 overall in Canadian iTunes chart. I know it has done, even more stuff after that point, but I'm very fascinated about when I talk to artists, just knowing on what project to collaborate. I know you worked on this with your what you might call an industry mentor and somebody you look up to, Crystal Shawanda. But if you want to tell me how that process began and why you chose to collaborate on a song with her at this point. Yeah, so I was down in New Orleans in January of 2020 for Folk Alliance International. And okay. I had planned a week of songwriting in Nashville right after that.
And so I had reached out to a bunch of different writers, and I was there for 7 nights. And one of the people that I reached out to was Crystal. And I honestly didn't expect her to agree to write with me. Like, Crystal is somebody that I've looked up to since I was, in my late teens, early 20s. And she was the first person that for me was representative of what an Indigenous country artist could be.
Gotcha.
And that was really powerful for me as a young adult. And so when I reached out to her, I really didn't expect her to say yes. I kind of thought she would, slough me off and say, you know what, I'd really love to, but I'm really busy. And because she's super sweet. And I knew that if she was going to let me down, she was going to let me down gently.
Gently.
And, but to my surprise, she agreed and she said yes. And I showed up at her house and I got to meet her little girl and her husband. And I really only just had an idea, and I had the song title, and it was Sometimes I Drink. And I wanted the song itself to be a song about, it being okay for women to give themselves permission to go out and have fun. Because I find sometimes, when women get together, it's to attend some kind of party where it's, they're selling things, like they might be selling candles or some kind of goofy product, and then there's always wine, and I think the whole reason women do that is because they legitimately want to get together, but we rarely just give ourselves permission to, let's meet up at a bar and let's have some drinks. And I wanted it to be that kind of a vibe and that kind of an upbeat fun message. And so we got to talking it out, and we literally talked for about 3 hours. And at the end of that 3 hours, we had this song.
Wow.
And it was like talking to my old friend. So it was a lot of fun to make that song.
Do you find that something that you've noticed in the industry, that you're able to collaborate with people as easily as you've done?
Yes and no, and I think it's changed over time. Like, I think when I first started co-writing, it kind of happened by chance.
Okay.
It was with the fellow that produced my my second album, Aaron Chattervey, and we just started writing. And Aaron's an incredible songwriter and just a wonderful human. And so it was really easy to write with him. As I started to try and get into rooms with established like country songwriters, the very first time I did that, I researched the writer, and that was a huge mistake because I was so nervous. Like, that person had written songs with, for the Dixie Chicks and the Chicks now. And so it was, I won't do that again. Let's just say I won't research anybody when I go in to write with them, because I don't want that to color, my own impression of them, but also of myself. I think that it's hard to go in as a co-writer, as an emerging writer, without having self-doubt and insecurities, and trying to push that away and get rid of that energy so that you can go in with a clear head and allow your creative process to flow freely. So I won't research anybody anymore.
No, it's really a song that has grown on me, and I think when I was listening to it over the last few weeks, just leading up to this, I think the one question was now you have explained, certain situations where women might find themselves in public settings and all of that, but for the song itself and the lyric, why do you think it is necessary, or why do you think it's important that women have that? I think the one word that runs through what was written here is to be, to an extent, unapologetic about having these kind of moments and having nights out and having time with your friend. Why do you think that's an important thing to try and communicate?
Because we're still bearing the brunt of working outside of the home, working inside of the home. Women are the ones who are doing the bulk of the work inside the home, and it's unpaid work. And for us to carve out time for ourselves, and I don't know that anyone necessarily makes us feel guilty. I think that that's just part of being a mom and maybe being a wife. Just feeling guilty leaving your kids and leaving your home when there are a million other things that could be done. It's hard to leave a bucket full of laundry or a sink full of dishes and give yourself permission to, just go out and let loose. But I think that I've been, people can see in my social media that I've been a proponent of, being an independent woman. And I think that it's important for women to give themselves permission, give ourselves permission to go out and let loose and, just enjoy being with your friends.
Awesome, awesome, very well said. Have you noticed a change? Probably, I want to believe that things have moved further along since you started writing and probably navigating the industry as a singer. But have you noticed a change that the culture is kind of changing slightly, and women are embracing it and stepping into that sentiments that you have so articulated in your song?
Yeah, I mean, I think with my generation, you mean just in terms of motherhood and
And stepping into independence and not really giving a care what necessarily what people think about how that should look and whatnot.
yeah, I mean, I think that we've come a heck of a long way,
Okay.
but there's still a long way to go. I mean, we look at what's happening in Texas with reproductive rights, and
Hmm.
we look at the over sexualization of women in the media, and the lack of women receiving airplay in country radio.
Hmm.
Um, all of those things are still issues, and there's still a long way to go. I mean, more women were getting played in the 90s on country radio than they are today. So in many ways it's like two steps forward, one step
Hmm.
back.
Hmm.
So we do still have a long way to go, but I do think that my generation of moms, and I say that because I am a mom. I know and I acknowledge that all women don't choose to be moms.
Yeah.
But I think that my generation, at least within my circle of friends, we do try and give ourselves permission to go out and let loose and enjoy each other's company without having to have an excuse like a candle party or something. Or maybe I just have like wild and crazy friends. I don't know.
Oh God. Um, so it's very symbolic that you get to do this with a mentor of yours. Prior to this point, had you stumbled upon Crystal at any point, or this was the first time you guys were getting to meet and get together?
No, I actually opened a show for her back in 2010 when I was like 9 months pregnant.
Oh,
and
okay.
and so from that point we started following each other on social media, and we had kind of messaged and commented and engaged and stuff in social media over the years, but had never really um, formally worked together in any
Hmm.
capacity. So this was the first time for that.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love the ability to collaborate on that level. But the recording process itself, where did that happen? It was in Nashville as well?
Well, partially. So the fellow that produced that song, his name is Chris Bergaffney. We'll give him a shout out. He
Okay.
lives in Winnipeg, and so I worked with him to produce that track, and then we sent it away for to Nashville. He has some contacts in Nashville, so we had some players, from Nashville playing on the track. So that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. In fact,
Cool.
the bass solo section of this song, when I was talking to Chris about what I wanted it to sound like, I referenced Little Red Wagon by Miranda Lambert. I said, I want
Hmm.
this section to sound, really clunky, like a really clunky bass solo.
Yeah.
And when he sent it to the studio that he works with, and that studio gets in session players, and he phoned me. He says, "You're never going to guess what." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Miranda Lambert's bass player is is in the studio today." So I was like, "What? That's insanity." So it was like a whole bunch of crazy serendipitous turns of events, I think, that brought this song to life.
Wow. That's incredible. Like I said, I've become a fan. I become a fan of the song, and the video itself. That was shot here, or where was that shot?
So that was shot in Dauphin. So we actually, I live in Dauphin, Manitoba, which is in Treaty 2 territory. We're about 3.5 hours north of Winnipeg.
Okay.
And we shot that video in the middle of like lockdown.
Oh,
So we had really strict restrictions in June when that was shot. And the one thing that was important to me because of the restrictions that we were under, I knew that at that point I didn't really want to go to Winnipeg and have to worry about, getting a hotel and all of those added expenses to work with a film crew.
yeah.
Our numbers locally were also very low here in the town that I live in. I want to say
Okay.
we had like, I don't know, five or 10 cases or something. And so it was important for me to try and work locally with a company that could help me bring the vision for this video to life. And really, it wasn't like anything fancy. I really just wanted it to be a bunch of girls who go into a bar and then have some little side stories to play off of that adventure, right?
Yeah.
And so I reached out to Grow Media, which is a local marketing company, and I had
Okay.
asked, would this be something that they would be interested in doing? I knew it was something that they'd never done before,
Hmm.
but I thought it could be an adventure for both of us, and they agreed. And so, because the film and movie regulations still allowed us to shoot film and
Hmm.
TV, we were allowed to use that regulation to get around the lockdown rules. And so we went into a local restaurant, Mr. Mike's here in Dauphin, and we, with a local film company and, a local artist. And I just grabbed some girlfriends and I said, come on, we're going to go and shoot this video. And away we went. And so like all of the characters in that video are people that I see on a regular basis in my
I
town.
gotcha. 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 Gotcha.
It's a fun video, and I'm just gonna back up itself to talk about the song and the lyrics. There, there are places where you talk like all through the song itself, like you just talking, just plain talking, or at the end in the video, I think they left in. I think I called us. I actually called us a cab or something like that. So. Was that part of what you were trying to do with the song itself, to have those moments where it almost feels conversational and you're talking?
Yeah, I mean, I have a crazy, and you can see it at the end of the video. When I laugh, I have like this ginormous big belly laugh, and my friends tease me about it all the time. My kids even tease me about my big laugh. And so I thought for that story to feel authentic, I wanted my big laugh to be part of the video. And I wanted to say, because I also wanted to get the message across at the end of that video that we're not just going out and getting drunk. Like, we're being responsible. We're going to call a cab,
Hmm.
and so that was an important message for me at the end that I wanted to include. And then the talking references in the song itself, I really just wanted it to feel authentic and feel real for people listening.
Awesome. Awesome. I think it's a remarkable song, and I'm really, really excited to have gotten the opportunity to listen to it and to come across you and your music. I've gone back to listen to a whole lot of your back catalog, and you're just a remarkable artist. There's no other way to say it, that all of the accolades that you received are very well worth received. So I want to say congratulations on the single. I know it's kind of like probably like 4 months out from when it was released, but either ways we're going to point people to it. But are we working towards anything in the future right now? What's happening beyond Sometimes I Drink?
Yeah, I've been working my butt off. I am releasing another a Christmas song actually, which I haven't done for many, many years. So the song is called Hillbilly Christmas, and it'll be out on November 19th. And I'm really, really excited about it because I didn't want like a sweet Christmas song, like a nice, cozy up by the fireplace Christmas song, because that isn't my family. Like, my family is crazy. Um, in the best possible way. And we've got all kinds of different characters that make up our family unit. And when we come together, you know, the house at Christmas time is absolute chaos, but in the best way. And so I wanted a song that would reflect that. So that's coming out November 19th. And then at the end of January, I've got a follow-up to Sometimes I Drink coming out called I Meant What I Said. And I wrote that down in Nashville when I was there January last year as well on that writing trip. And that was a song that I had started with. I had an idea. It was actually fully written. I wrote it following a fight with my husband. And so but there were things lyrically that weren't sitting well with me. And so when I took it to my co-writers in Nashville, I said, you know, let's see if we can fix this up. And, you know, I think that this is an idea and there's something that we can work with here, but let's see if we can fix it up and make it better. And so that's what we did. So that one's coming out at the end of January. And yeah, so a few things on the horizon.
Awesome. Like we're gonna keep our eyes out for those. Like I said, I'm really excited. We're really excited to have come in contact with your music. We think it's really good. We're fans of you. We're just gonna keep supporting you the best we can, just as we do with music. We just love your work. So congratulations on all the stuff that you've put out, and we're going to keep our eyes out for all the stuff that's yet to come. Desiree, thank you so much for coming on the show and for giving us your time. We're very, very appreciative. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me today and working with me through these technical difficulties that we had trying to make this happen.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for being such a good sport about all the stuff that's happened so far, but we'll keep talking for sure. For now, I just want to say have a great rest of your day, okay?
Likewise. Take care.
Awesome. Take care. Bye-bye.